Today we are removing the Burj Khalifa, but we aren't just deleting 828 meters of glass and steel from the Dubai skyline. We are erasing the very catalyst that transformed a desert tribe into a global empire. In an instant, the vertical city vanishes. The sand reclaims the ground where the foundations once dove 50 meters deep. But look at the people left standing. Look at the maps. Look at the bank accounts of the world's elite. When the Burj disappears, the modern identity of the Middle East goes with it. We are about to witness the collapse of the Dubai dream, the displacement of 11 million people, and a real estate crash so violent it makes the 2008 crisis look like a minor correction. This isn't just a building, it is the spine of the 21st century. And today, we are snapping it. To understand the impact of erasing the Burj, you have to look at who lives in the shadow of the tower. In the 1950s, the Trucial States, what we now call the UAE, was home to roughly 80,000 people. By the time the Burj Khalifa was commissioned, the local Emirati population had grown, but it remained a small, tight-knit community of around 1 million citizens. Today, in 2026, the UAE is a powerhouse of 12 million people. Where did the other 11 million come from? And why are they here? The Burj Khalifa was the global magnet. When Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum decided to build the tallest structure in human history, he wasn't building a residence for Emiratis. He was building a world capital. He was sending a signal to the engineers in London, the bankers in New York, the tech moguls in Bangalore, and the laborers in Manila. The future is being built here. Come and claim your piece. If we erase the Burj Khalifa, we erase the incentive for the 11 million. Without the prestige of the Burj, Dubai remains a regional port. It never becomes the Manhattan of the Middle East. In our erased timeline, the 11 million expatriates never buy a plane ticket. Imagine the vacuum. The world-class surgeons who staff the clinics stay in Europe. The millions of workers who sent billions in remittances back to India, Pakistan, and Egypt stay home. This causes a secondary economic collapse in South Asia, where entire villages rely on Dubai money to survive. The UAE becomes a ghost nation. You have 1 million locals sitting on a massive infrastructure built for 12 million. The malls are empty. The schools are silent. The UAE reverts from a global melting pot back to an isolated oil state. By removing one building, we have effectively uninvited the world. The Burj Khalifa is the sun of the Dubai real estate solar system. Every other building, the address hotels, the fountains, the luxury villas, derives its value from its proximity to the icon. In the real estate world, there is a term called the Burj effect. When the tower was completed, property prices within a 5-mile radius surged by nearly 400%. People weren't buying square footage, they were buying a view of the impossible. We click delete on the Burj. What happens to the $20 billion downtown Dubai project? It becomes a graveyard of concrete. Without the Burj as an anchor, the surrounding luxury apartments lose 70% of their value overnight. Investors in London and Moscow see their portfolios vanish. Because the Burj proved that build it and they will come works, other countries followed suit. Saudi Arabia's Neom, Egypt's new administrative capital, Qatar's Lusail, all of these projects are based on the Burj logic. If the Burj never existed to prove the model, none of these trillion-dollar cities are ever funded. Dubai's real estate is tied to global banking. When the Burj bubble is erased, the banks that leverage that debt face a liquidity crisis. This triggers a black swan event in the global markets. We realized too late that the Burj Khalifa wasn't just holding up its own roof. It was holding up the collateral for the entire region's wealth. Let's go back to the moment of creation. The year is 2004. Adrian Smith, the lead architect, sits down to design something that has never been done. He looks at the Hymenocallis desert flower. It has petals that radiate from a central core. But as he begins to draw the structural skeleton, something happens. To make a building survive the vortex shedding, the wind forces that try to tear tall buildings apart, he has to use a buttressed core. He creates a three-winged structure. To the naked eye, it's a Y shape. But to the engineering world, it was the perfect geometric tripod. The architect later remarked that he had built a vertical city in a spiraling symmetry. This wasn't just an aesthetic choice, it was a message of convergence. It was the ancient, spiraling logic of Islamic minarets meeting the cutting-edge physics of Western structural engineering. It was the ultimate unity project, using a shape found in desert nature to solve a problem created by the sky. If this invention, this tri-lobed tripod, is erased, we lose the physics of height. Before the Burj, buildings were tubes. Tubes are heavy and they sway. The Burj invented the tripod method. If we erase the Burj, every megatall building built after 2010, the Shanghai Tower, the Lottie World Tower, the One World Trade Center, would have to be redesigned. Most of them would simply be too dangerous to build. We would be living in a world of stunted cities. Now let's look at the headlines from today. It is 2026. The Middle East is navigating its most tense period in decades. Wars are raging in neighboring territories. In our reality, why hasn't Dubai been leveled? The Burj Khalifa is a diplomatic shield. Because the Burj is the vault for the world's wealth, containing the offices of Chinese tech giants, American hedge funds, and Russian billionaires, it is the one place no one dares to hit. To strike the Burj is to declare war on the entire world's economy at once. It is the neutral zone. We erase the Burj. The neutral zone is gone. The UAE is no longer a global hub that everyone has a stake in protecting. It is just another oil-producing nation. In the current 2026 conflict, without the Burj shield, the UAE becomes a much easier target for regional aggressors. The Abraham Accords and the regional trade deals were signed because the Burj proved that trade is greater than war. Without the symbol of the Burj, the old guard of the Middle East, those who believe in borders and conflict, regain control. The new Middle East of technology and tourism dies in the cradle. Here is the discovery that changes everything. In the middle of a desert where it hasn't rained in months, the Burj Khalifa is bleeding water. Because the spire is so high, it reaches into a completely different atmospheric layer, where the air is 15 degrees Celsius cooler and significantly cleaner. This temperature difference creates a massive amount of condensation. The Burj's condensate recovery system harvests moisture from the clouds themselves. It collects 15 million gallons of fresh water every single year. That is enough to fill 20 Olympic-sized swimming pools from thin air. If the Burj vanishes, we lose this sky-water technology. In an erased world, the global movement toward vertical farming in drought-stricken nations loses its primary source of data. We lose the secret to surviving on a warming planet where groundwater is disappearing. Finally, we erase the love level. There is a psychological impact to living in a world where we know we can touch the sky. Residents on the 100th floor experience time differently, seeing the sunset 4 minutes later than those on the ground. This tower broke the psychological ceiling of humanity. It proved that we don't need to live on the ground. The inventions made here, high-speed elevators traveling 10 meters per second, and high-pressure concrete pumps, are the direct ancestors of the technology we will need to build bases on Mars. When we erase the Burj, we aren't just losing a view. We are losing our status as a Type 1 civilization. We are telling ourselves that the sky is once again off limits. We think buildings are just stone and glass, but when you remove the tallest one, you realize it was holding up more than just a roof. It was holding up our belief that we could reach the impossible. The Burj Khalifa taught us how to breathe in the clouds and how to drink from the air. It turned 1 million people into 12 million, and a desert into the center of the world. Without it, the world is flatter, thirstier, and far more dangerous. What should we erase next? The Great Wall of China? Or perhaps the internet itself? Leave a comment below on which piece of history you want to see vanish. This has been World Erased.